We are talking about, we call it the marketing mix. And it's not just we who call it. Like, this is actually something like the 4 Ps of marketing is something that NASM is, they did not invent this. Like, if this, for those of you who haven't ever taken like a marketing class or anything, this is definitely not NASM's content. They didn't invent any of this. It kind of seems like it. So like I took like a business class like later in school, but remember I had like passed my certification like while I was in school. So I remember thinking like all of these things were like NASM really put a lot of work into understanding like advertising and like what that means and stuff. And that turned out to not be true. Like they interpreted other people's information. So if you look up marketing mix, to spell it correctly, you can see, right, like it's a combination of factors, right? And they've kind of expanded this into like this idea of like the 7 Ps of marketing, which has gotten a lot more complicated. But oftentimes it's kind of watered down to the 4 Ps of marketing. So you can see your 4 Ps of marketing, right? They are going to be your product, your price, your place, and your promotion. So we're going to kind of talk about those 4 things today. So when you are sort of thinking about these 4 main aspects of your business, this is sort of like what you need to have a pretty clear idea of before you get out there in the world and try to start like, you know, growing that business. So looking at marketing sort of 101, right before we even get into the 4 Ps, you know, talking about like what marketing is. First, let's identify what, right? It's the ways in which an individual promotes their goods or services, right? So this is the way in which like your product exists. It is the way in which like people are finding out about your product, the way it's filling their needs, and the way that they are, you know, purchasing it, right? So if you are trying to come up with an idea for like a business that you want to run, first thing you need to do before you like, you know, come like this is, I think like the biggest mistake like a lot of people make is like they immediately like they have an idea first and then they look to, they're like, okay, now that I got to find a way to get people to, you know, want to engage with my idea. And they did that process a little bit backwards. It's not about creating an idea first and then trying to find people who need that idea. It's about looking at what people need first and then creating an idea to fill that need. So step 1, we need to identify our potential customers' needs. You want to ask yourself, you know, what is something in the health and wellness industry that someone needs, right? Obviously, people need, you know, like, let's talk about it, right? Let's sort of brainstorm here. We know people need education, right? Like they need to know. Most people have a lot of common misconceptions about exercise and about diet, you know. People need to be motivated, right? People are definitely looking for, you know, someone to hold them accountable and to push them when they don't really feel like it. You know, there are definitely days where like, you know, I always tell my clients this all the time. I've said this for years, you know, like I love my bed. It's a great place to be. You know, I make sure that my bed's really comfy. And so there are plenty of times where I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I don't want to go, like, I don't want to go do my workout, you know, just like anybody else, you know, and I love working out too. Like, it's like it's my favorite hobby, right? Everybody has those types of struggles, right? And so like, you know, sometimes you either sort of overcome that struggle and you're able to kind of have enough willpower to kind of, you know, drag yourself out of bed and be like, oh, okay, yeah, this was totally worth it. I'm stoked that I'm working out now, you know? And some people need a little bit more push. Some people need, you know, the pressure of even just having like an appointment, right? I know that like, that's why like I love having like a workout partner. Like I don't miss many workouts. You know, I work out 6 days a week, pretty much every week. When was the last time I missed a workout? Actually, you know what? I missed a workout last week. It was a deload week for me. And those are the weeks that I usually tend to like skip one. Because they're deloads and they're just not very hard workouts. And so I'm just not as motivated by them. So I missed one last week, but, you know, some people like they miss consistently. So even just having like a gym partner, like a workout partner, is a great way to keep yourself accountable because you're like, oh, I don't want to go. Oh, but Nick's going to be there. I better give him my butt over to the gym. That's great. That's the accountability factor, right? Sometimes, guys, I'll be honest, like, for those of you who have been with me a long time, you've probably heard me say this because I say this a lot. Sometimes as a personal trainer, you are nothing more than a glorified appointment. People are showing up, like they'll walk through the door, they got sunglasses on, they're hungover, and they're like, I'm here for you. I don't care about this workout today. I'm just here because of our relationship. And I don't want to let you down. And I'm like, I'll take it. That's fine. Because I got your body here. Let's do it. They are not motivated to work out today. They are just motivated by showing up for their appointment. Sometimes that's the thing, I would love for them to say, I'm here because I know that you're going to motivate me. And I'm here to get a great workout in that I know you have created. I would love it if someone would say that. No one ever says that. Not that I don't believe that sometimes, but like sometimes you're definitely gonna have you're gonna be a glorified appointment, and like that's fine. That is enough for you to it's like I can work with that. So sometimes that's a potential customer need, right? Sometimes people need accountability and motivation and things like that. People need a way to monitor their progress and understand and interpret that progress, right? Performing effective fitness assessments, which people aren't, usually doing, that's a really great way for you to sort of fill a need, right? Like if somebody has like the need of, wanting to know that they're actually improving and working towards something, that's sort of where we come in. So for the fitness clientele who are seeking out personal trainers, there's a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's to improve their appearance. Maybe that's what they want. They want to improve the appearance. Maybe they want to improve sports performance. When this course is over, when this leadership PFT 100 is over, we're going to go into our sports training class, our how to work with athletes class. And so maybe that's the type of clients that you're looking for. I just ran into an ex-student of mine who is running like youth boot camps. And he's doing all the SAQ stuff, that we're going to do in a couple of weeks. He's doing all that like with kids and stuff. At the same time that I play Ultimate. So I was like, you got to push it forward an hour so you can come play. Or maybe it's just to improve their overall general health. But whatever the reason is, guys, here's the big thing you need to remember. It doesn't matter what your clients like surface motivations are. At the end of the day, every client, whether it's someone who's trying to become like a major athlete or someone who's just trying to get their blood sugar under control, they are hiring a personal trainer because they want to improve their quality of life. That's the number one thing that we are being hired for. People are looking for an improved quality of life. They're looking for someone to solve a problem that they have in their life. So if that's the case, and we know that, now we've already got sort of, a pretty clear idea of how we can sort of, we know that people want to improve their quality of life. We can create a product or a service that is going to fill that need. So that is where step 2 comes in, right? We are going to develop the appropriate product or service in order to satisfy the needs of our client, right? So, decreased physical activity, we know that is linked to all of these diseases, right? Heart disease, diabetes, musculoskeletal dysfunction. So when we see that like people who are sedentary are the ones who are dealing with these conditions and, struggling with these diseases the most, if we're trying to develop a product or service that can meet the needs of people, right? Well, we're going to look at like developing a product that is going to help people become more active and increase their physical activity. And so it's funny, like you can see this here. Personal training in the past, it's kind of been viewed as like sort of a luxury item, right? But we definitely know that obesity statistics are only climbing. They are only, going higher and higher and higher every single year. We are moving to where the idea of like a personal trainer is becoming like a necessity in this freaking world. And so again, like, you've got to be able to develop a product or a service that's going to scale with this world that we are sort of moving into. Like, how are you going to meet the needs of all these people who need it? How are you going to help as many people as possible? You're going to meet this growing demand. I just did my recertification last night and got NASM's like virtual like trainer certification. And it was like one of the statistics that it had, and I always hate it when I get these questions because I'm like, oh, these are so hard to like answer because they're just, like a number that you read in a chapter and have to like be expected to memorize. But it was like, what percentage of growth is expected for like the virtual training industry? And it was like 16% over the next like 10 years. Like that's a really large growth. That's only in the virtual training community. And I imagine that number is actually going to shift a little bit higher now that people are realizing like virtual training is actually a little easier than a lot of people had considered. So, this is definitely on the rise. We're seeing more people need more personal training. So if that's the case, you got to consider like, you need to develop the appropriate product or service in order to satisfy the needs of people. Well, what do people need, right? Again, go back to it, right? People need to know about nutrition. People need to know about general health. People need to know about sports performance, weight loss. Seniors need to know how to work out. Youths need to know how to work out. The specifics around like training like women or like pregnant clients. That's very specific things. If people are training for like, maybe they just want to get better at MMA. All of those things, those are all like certifications on NASM's website. Maybe people don't necessarily need help with like working out. They just need help with like creating good habits and, working out regularly. Well, then maybe they need behavior change strategies. NASM's got a million certifications. And then there's other ones out there as well. There are, not through NASM. There's, let's see, at home training certification, continuing education certification. 5 best continuing education courses. I'm kind of surprised I didn't find this more quickly. Precision nutrition, business and sales, pain management specialist. There we go. That's kind of a unique one. So this is definitely not through NASM, but the pain management certification and how to deal with that, working with corrective exercise. This would marry very well with the CES certification that we all have, right? It's $300.
Perfect.
Who is this through? Fitness Mentor? No. That's totally not right. Fitness Mentors is not a certification. Who is this company? Who runs this? Search Google. Interesting. Empire Medical. Okay. There we go. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting certification, right? So there's a lot of different CEUs out there. This is how you are going to continue to grow like your own personal knowledge, and it's how you are going to develop specifics that are going to help you, meet the needs of more individuals, right? So again, you got to ask yourself a question here, right? Like you have to ask yourself, what's something that what is something that people in the health and wellness industry need, right? And you need to ask yourself, how can I develop a product or service in order to actually meet the needs of my potential customers? Like, what do you need to do? Oh, hold on. Lorianne, what's up? You're unmuted, just so you know. There we go. So how are you going to develop those needs, right? Is it going to be through certification, right? Like me, the certifications that I've got, now I've got the virtual trainer one. So if I've got a client who's like, hey, can we train, over Zoom or something? Now I've got like a new knowledge and skill set in order to be able to kind of do that. I've also got my corrective exercise specialist. So if I have somebody who's really dealing with like a lot of aches and pains due to like their posture, we are going to address that. If I've got a client who's an athlete, I have my PES. I can work, in that realm of things. If I've got a client who needs to talk about nutrition, I've got nutrition. So now, if my product or service is just me as an independent contracting personal trainer, I've got a large group of people that I can market to. And in 2 years, when I need to get a new certification, I'm just gonna I'll probably go to NASM. I mean, I don't have to. I can go to any, like I said, it doesn't always have to be NASM, guys. But NASM I've found makes it very easy. Let's say, in a couple of years, I decide, what do we want? What's a unique one? Yeah, we teach, like, let's say I want to get the BCS, right? I want to do the behavior change thing, and focus more on, helping people create healthy habits and restructure goals and things like that. There's the behavior change specialist, right? This is a little bit more around the ideas of like coaching and stuff. So definitely, there's a lot of options out there. Your product is going to morph and change over time. So what certifications do you need? That's a question you should be asking yourself. What's your location? Like if you're going to meet the needs of people, you need to look at like where you are located. I gotta say, like this virtual training certification that I just got, it kind of eliminates that actually a little bit. It makes it very convenient for people to train in their homes. You basically whip up a list of what equipment is going to be most effective for your client to be able to use, like while they're at home, and work to train them like virtually over like a Zoom call and stuff. If people are looking for convenience and like location in their own homes, that was like a need filled. So it's kind of nice. What about the time offered? You got to consider like when's your product going to be most effective. Generally, most people want to train either early in the morning before work or late at night after work. Those are the two most popular hours. Walk into any gym around like noon, it's going to be dead. There's like nobody in there because everybody's at work. Unless maybe you're training like, retired individuals, in which case, yeah, maybe that actually is a popular time, So then you got to figure out a way to promote your services. And this is where the, most common idea of people like coming together and, the most common idea of like marketing comes in, right? People think that marketing is promoting. And so step 3, promote your services in a cost effective manner, right? How can you get your product or service to meet people in a way that, is very effective? You're going to meet as many people as possible without being too costly, to where your business can't really do it. So reviewing these, right? Identifying your customer needs. Like I said, the 3 most common reasons people are going to seek out a personal trainer, they're going to be to improve their appearance. So generally around like weight loss or muscle gain or, just toning up. Sometimes it'll be to improve their sports performance. Some people just want to, improve like, their overall, like, athletes are trying to get a little bit faster. Kids are trying to get better at a sport. Or it's a desire to improve their general health. Sometimes people are not motivated to come to the gym at all, but their doctor was like, look, you got to work on your cholesterol, so now like they're coming to the gym because maybe they have like a specific comorbidity, right? Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, guys, the big thing you need to remember, people are trying to improve their quality of life. So if you create a product or a service that is going to improve people's quality of life, there's going to be a million different ways you can market it. Then you need to develop that product or service that's going to meet those needs. Maybe you're a trainer who helps someone burn a lot of calories. That can be helpful for, altering appearance. Like if you're going for, sort of anthropomorphic changes, like if you're going for, changes in someone's body weight or body fat percentage or something like that, great. Like if you're the type of trainer that like specializes in high calorie burning workouts, there you go, right? Or if you're a trainer like focused on training athletes and you are doing like specific movements related to, specific athletic movements, Olympic lifting, things like that. Also great, right? And those don't have to be mutually exclusive. Sometimes there's going to be athletes who need to gain weight or lose weight, right? So there's going to be some carryover there. Maybe your needs is like, you find that like a lot of people are working out just fine and they're being plenty physically active. They just don't know what to eat. They're just eating poorly, right? So create like a new, create like a product or service to fill that. I do my meal prep every week, you guys know. But recently I was looking into like meal prep services that would sort of take the pressure off. And I found this website. I found this company here in LA called Every Table. And they are like a meal prep service located. There's one in Hollywood, and then there's a bunch of them in like Baldwin Hills, and then there's like there's one like God, where are all their locations? Um, Baldwin Hills. There's one on Hoover, in Watts and Compton. And I'm like, oh, that's the, they got all these like really kind of cool locations. To me, that's really exciting. And they have this, you go to their, where the heck is it? Oh, come on. Where's their awesome tab? Is it the bottom maybe? They have this tab talking about like their company mission. Here we go. Their story and stuff. So they're trying to make like meal delivery healthy, nutritious, and accessible to everyone. I'll be honest, guys, like we've talked about this before in class. When you go to like certain areas of town and you look at like, like areas of town that don't make as much money, right? Like when you look at like, the idea of like how the US has kind of been redlined in certain places, there are not as many healthy food options, and obesity and diabetes and heart disease are much higher in like poorer neighborhoods, right? Well, this company is focused around like healthy nutrition. They've found a way to make it affordable, and they are smack dab in the middle of some of these areas of town that are definitely not where you would think to find something like a Whole Foods. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I'm super stoked for this company. And they have like their entire mission is, that's why they're called Every Table. This is like a meal prep delivery service for everybody. And it's a little bit more expensive for me than it would be for me to like prepare my meals the way I normally do. But I was looking at it and I was like, I'm absolutely going to do a week of this just to try it out. And I would love to, I'm stoked to support a company that is doing like social good the way that this company is. And so I was like looking at it, and they have like, it's like $5.55 for like a little, little turkey bowl here, with like 580 calories, 26 grams of protein, 62 grams of carbs. It's all, like seasoned ingredients. They have like their ingredients list here. They have like their nutrition facts here. Like, this is a company, it definitely is high in sodium. That's one thing that you're going to see in any meal prep delivery service. Sodium is always through the charts or through the roof. But what a freaking great company. Like, these guys are kind of new, and I really hope that they survive and grow and thrive. They also did something. They had this other thing. Let's see here. They have this. Where is it? Smart fridge thing that they started putting in. And if I ever have like a freaking business, I'm gonna put this into my friggin' place. It's a fridge, and it's got a little like reader here, and so you order what you do, and then like you pay for it with like, you swipe your credit card or whatever, and then the fridge opens up and you can grab one of these meals. And so like if you're working in like an office or something, and you don't, you want to be able to like, eat lunch at work, this fridge here has you covered. This company is amazing. Like, I'm super stoked on them. But just talking about the ideas of like marketing and stuff, they saw like a need. They saw that like typically poorer neighborhoods were struggling with nutrition. And so they placed their locations smack dab in the middle of those neighborhoods. And they offer like, they have a class actually, which is really cool as well. They call it Every Table University, I think, or something like that. Where'd that go? Yeah, Every Table University, which is where they talk about like food justice and things like that, and food equality for everyone. And it is amazing. Like I'm anyway. I'm gonna stop talking about this random company that I found a couple days ago. But like, I knew that we were coming to this class today, and I was like, I'm totally gonna talk about like that meal prep delivery service. But like for me, I usually spend about $70 to $80 on groceries every week to do my meal prep. And I can get my meals made for me, drive down and pick them up for the week for like $107, I think. Like $107 a week on super, super healthy groceries when I don't have to cook, like, it's not bad. Like, I'm stoked on it. Anyway, so let's take a look here at, let's get into the 4 Ps. So again, you are trying to, first identify what people need, create a product to fill that need, then we've got to promote it, right? And that last one, promoting it, sometimes feels like the most daunting, but hopefully after today, it will, feel a little bit clearer, right? How do you get your services out there? So this is the marketing mix, right? This is your 4 Ps. We call it, sort of marketing 101 here. And like I said, the 4 Ps is not an awesome thing. It's sort of been expanded into like 7 Ps nowadays. I don't know what that actually, I don't know what the other ones are. 7 Ps of marketing. What are the other ones now? Because I only know the 4. Price, promotion, place, product. Those are the standards. People, processes, and physical evidence. What's physical evidence? All right, that's cool. So we're looking at the 4. So guys, and for the record, remember I told you there's a very small chapter. And so aside from my lesson today, my tips for you guys for passing your tests and stuff, this is a very small chapter and there's not a ton of information, but it is about 10% of your test. If you look at your NASM exam blueprint, if you look at this darn thing, you're going to see professional development and responsibility is 10%. That's your domain 6, right? So it's 100 questions. There's going to be about 10 questions from this chapter. These things right here, the definitions of what a product is, what your price is, what your place is, what your promotion is, those definitions, they make really good test questions. So these key terms here, everything in bold, these are some of the things that I would honestly pay the most attention to, because, like, don't get me wrong, all the stuff that we've talked about in this course so far is important, but like NASM's not expecting you to know what size font to use on like your test, but they will ask you what the definition of product is, right? So this is sort of a twofold lesson here, right? I want you to know actually how to market, but I also, want you to pay attention to the most important things that are going to kind of show up on your test. And by the way, we can actually even see that if we go down here to domain 4, professional development, they are looking for you to know what your rules and regulations are. So they're going to probably ask you a question, you must obtain, this every 2 years. That's going to be your recertification, right? 2.0 CEUs. That's the thing to remember. 0.1 of it should be CPR, right? And then how to develop and grow your business, like marketing, networking. We'll talk about financial planning in later lessons. But marketing concepts and techniques, sales concepts and techniques. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you are going to see on your test. So this is some direct translation stuff, which means your homework, yeah, you're going to get a lot of questions. Blank is a specific product or service off to your guys' product, right? So let's go through it, right? Product, the specific product you are offering to your clients. Your price is the amount you are charging for that product. But don't forget, price is not just how much you are baseline, like setting your hourly rate at. It is also things like, what do you need to consider in terms of discounts that you offer, right? Like, are you doing bundling? Are you offering discounts for buying larger packages? I always do that. If people ask me like how much I charge per hour, I tell them that like my baseline session is about $100 an hour. But I very rarely actually charge people that because they get discounts the more sessions they buy. The price goes down a little bit every single time. We've also got price. That's the amount that you are charging for your product or service. That's volume discounts, season pricing. If you run discounts during January or whatever, it's a good time to do it. Place, these are the channels that your product or service will go through in order to meet your customer. Place is very different from promotion. Place is where your product is actually being offered. Promotion is where your product, so it sounds very similar, is being marketed in order to get a positive customer response. So let's kind of go through these a little bit more specifically because I know that was very quick. Product, right? The specific product or service that you are offering to your customers, okay? That's what your product is. So are you I mean, obviously the product that a lot of us are going to be offering is, you know, personal trainer, right? Or you want to call yourself corrective exercise specialist, fitness, nutrition, whatever, you know, you want. That is the product that you are offering. But what sets your product apart? What makes it unique compared to like other people who might be offering something really similar? Well, this is where your variety, features, services, and appearance are going to come in. These are the things that are going to kind of set you apart, right? So variety is the depth of your product line. And I should warn you, you want to have some variety. Don't have too much variety because then that can also cause kind of a negative response. If it's a little bit too overwhelming and there's too many options, what'll happen sometimes is people's brains will just blow up and they'll go, all right, I choose nothing, and then they leave. But offering like a wide variety of products is good to a point, because it's going to allow you to attract different customers. So in our realm, right, that could be maybe you offer duo sessions, right? Maybe you're offering like, you know, you say that your product is personal training for, we'll say $100 an hour. Somebody's like, well, I can't really afford $100 an hour. And I was like, well, could you afford $60 an hour? And then you could share your training session with someone else. And so for, you know, a freaking 40% discount, you know, it'll train you as well as like you can bring a friend in. Then you've got somebody to keep you accountable. You're both getting a lot of personalized attention still. And you're both going to still like meet your goals and stuff. So now, like, you know, that small difference there, right? That is going to, somebody's go, yeah, well, yeah, I can definitely, you know, I'm stoked to be able to train with a friend, but also like it's much more affordable. And guess what, guys? You're making $120 an hour instead of making $100 an hour. So duo sessions could be a depth, you know, add a little bit of depth to your product line and make your business more marketable. Or even small group training. Maybe it's like, okay, well, maybe you don't go for like the personalized attention approach. You know, we can certainly still have conversations and I can give you tips and stuff. It's not like you're not going to be like a client of mine, but, you know, maybe you can share your session with like 3 or 4 other people. And so we'll do like, you know, 5 people in a small group. That's anything above that, I think gets into like group exercise territory, but small group training is maybe about like 5 people. And now it's maybe only like $30 an hour, right? So it's like 30 for this person, 30, 30, 30. Now you're making $150 an hour. Everyone is getting to train in like a group. They can become friends. Yeah, they can support each other. And they are still getting plenty of personalized attention. You're still able to keep an eye on people, right? Or maybe people are like, you know, I feel like I don't have enough time to work out. You know, price isn't an issue, but I'm just really worried about having enough time in order to like do things. Like I can do my stretches and stuff, but like, you know, taking the time to do like a full workout every day just seems a little daunting to me. So maybe you offer 30-minute sessions, right? In addition to your classic 60-minute training session. There you go. That's a little bit of depth to your product line. Maybe you offer nutrition coaching. Maybe you offer corrective exercise, manual stretch therapy. Dalen, you're in the morning. Yeah, Dalen, you're with us, right? You've got massage, right? You've got massage. Andres, you've got massage. Like both of those things. Oh God, I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. Stop it. I need a light. I keep my lights off in the morning. Good God. All right. So both of you guys have a little bit of depth to your product line, right? If you start a personal website for your services and you're like, hey, like I do personal training. If you also wanted to do like massage afterwards, that's great. My friend Bobby doesn't do it anymore. But he opened a retro fitness is what he calls it. I think they actually are a franchise, but he opened his own location. Yeah, retrofit. Oh, that's not the right website. Is it? Hold on. Yeah, no, that's not them. Robert McGillivray. I have no idea how to spell his very Scottish last name. Retrofit. I said retro fitness. I see. Okay. Got it. So this is my buddy Bobby, and he actually he's from Scotland. He had a Scottish training certification, and then he came out here. He got his NASM, and he used to do like a lot of private training. He is also a massage therapist, and he is also an incredible cook. So he actually knows how to do like these kind of three big things, right? So he knows about nutrition. He knows, God, that headshot's a couple years old. He knows how to do nutrition. He knows how to do personal training, and he knows how to do massage. And he used to like work in like West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, and he would offer this like huge training session where he would train someone for an hour, and then they would immediately lay down and go for like a massage. So he'd like bring his table with him. He would do like an in-home personal training session. Then he would like set up a massage set, thing. And he told me about like how he'd set it all up ahead of time. He'd be like, all right, while they were warming up, he'd get all of it, or like cooling down. He would get all of his like stuff ready. And I don't think it was directly like an hour of training and then like an hour massage. I think that was a long time. I think it was like a maybe 20-30 minute massage every time. But that was like the cool down of his training sessions. And then he was in these people's houses. So he'd be like, all right, now go take a shower. They would go shower. And then he would immediately go into their kitchen and he would like whip them up like a super healthy meal. And he was charging, it was a bare minimum, like 2-hour session. And he was charging $100 an hour. And he would have like 2 of those a day, making $400 a day, like on the side, in addition to any of his normal, just personal training clients. And he would have like these super sessions. Not bad, right? Like $100 an hour, working 2 hours a day, like, can't really complain about that, right? And eventually it was enough for him to open his gym there. He calls it Retrofit, which is totally just a regular gym. We were talking about it. I was like, it's just a regular gym, right? He's like, oh yeah, he's just brick walls. We play classic rock. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, I was like, I freaking love it. He's like, yeah. He's like, we just keep it simple, So anyway, that is a super awesome, that's the variety of tier products, right? That's the product. You need to consider like what product you are going to have. Then you want to consider what the features of your product are, right? What are the characteristics of your product that actually like separate you from the competition? So Retrofit, honestly, it doesn't sound like there's actually anything that really separates. It sounds like it's a regular gym. But the idea of like retrofit, right? It is appealing to people who are looking for like an old school, dirty, gritty gym, that's what's like kind of appealing to them, right? Those are the features of it, right? Or, again, like Bobby, he does like massage, right? Like that's a feature to like personal training. You guys are all walking away with corrective exercise, right? Mo's going to teach you guys how to do like PNF stretching. If you look at that, and I know like Andres and Dalen, you guys know how to do like PIR stretching as well. But like, if you look at like, this assisted style stretch, this is not every trainer knows how to do this kind of stuff, right? Or at least, properly. So like knowing how to do that is a feature to your service, right? Like that's something that kind of separates you from another trainer. There are companies like Stretch Lab out there, and Massage Envy. They literally, these are kind of new in the industry, but they're literally like studios that they don't do massage studios. They just have like these kind of group areas where you go in for like a 20-30 minute session and get stretched. It's like a full, just like that's all it is. It's just a company that does manual stretching. So there's another place that you can kind of work. By the way, I've had students start working in places like this before they graduate. For those of you who actually might already know how to do a little bit of this, like Massage Envy will often hire people who are still like in school, still studying and stuff.
I sent my resume already.
Did you?
Stretch Lab, yeah.
For Stretch Lab?
Yeah, because they were asking me.
That's the one I recommend. Massage Envy is really good, but I know Stretch Lab pays better.
Yeah, that's all they do is it's PNF stretches in there.
Yeah. I don't know which one's first, but there's other ones out there too. You know, there's other companies. I saw a company the other day that kind of surprised me. It was a group exercise facility built entirely around rowing.
Oh yeah, that's right next door to the Stretch Lab that I go to.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot the name of it.
Row House.
Row House. Yep, that's it.
That's hilarious. You guys, anybody watch Row House? So this is, yeah, their whole thing. It's like a Orange Theory, but with just rowing only. Kind of cool, right? This is that small facility. But like, again, so these are the things, like, here we go. Like if I'm looking at this website and I'm looking for like features of them compared to like a normal, like if I'm trying to decide between like which group exercise company I'm going to go with, I look at this kind of row for a cause thing, right? Let's help you raise money for a cause that you're passionate about. That's kind of cool, right? They do fundraisers. That appeals to me. I think that is awesome, you know? So little things like that, that's like a feature that kind of sets them apart. If there were two rowing companies right next to one another and they both cost the same, they both offer really great services, and I'm looking for which one's going to like benefit the rest of the world, this is totally who I'm going to go with, you know? So those are the kind of features that you can kind of use to set yourself apart. Now, there's also services, which is going to feel very similar to features, but it is a little bit different. Features are usually things that are actually like tangible differences, right? So like Orange Theory Fitness, and it looks like that Row House did the same thing, but Orange Theory Fitness, their whole thing, if you go to their website, they'll tell you, if you go to the workout, right? They'll talk about how there's, you know, strength training, and then right at the top, it talks about the 5 heart rate zones, right? There's resting, easy, challenging, uncomfortable, and all out. The goal is to spend 12 minutes in the orange zone, which if I'm assuming is the uncomfortable zone. Red zone is the all out. And then you can see they're doing rowing. They've got regular cardio, like on a treadmill. They got strength training. And then they make everyone wear a heart rate monitor when you're in class. So that's their, you know, those are the features of Orange Theory, right? Now, services are benefits that are very intangible. So services are something that you really can't necessarily hold on to. Like your ability to be a trainer who's really good at breaking things down and explaining things to your client. Every trainer explains stuff to their clients, right? But if you are like specifically quite good at that, that's your, like, that could be a service. If you are grabbing the door for your client, right? If you're racking the weights for them, and making sure that they don't have to wait, you know, those are the things related to your services. Even just smiling, being friendly and personable, those are services. So features are things that are actually going to set you apart, right? Personal nutritional counseling, behavior change strategies, corrective exercise techniques, right? Those are features. Services are things like maybe you educate people, maybe you're training them in their home, maybe you're giving them your client like homework, right? These are usually things that are not necessarily, you know, they benefit your client, but they're not something they can necessarily like hold on to, right? My favorite compliment that I get from clients every now and then is when they say like, we love how, like, I love how like you're very motivating and optimistic. It's my favorite compliment. If I'm, you know, being very like, you know, pat myself on the back here. My favorite thing that someone says is to call me optimistic. My favorite compliment. And so when they say that, it's like, what that means is like, and I try to have everybody feel as if like I'm positive they are going to succeed. You know, birds fly, fish swim, they're going to meet their goals, you know, because they're my client, right? That to me is a service within like the product that I offer, which might be personal training. You know, I want my clients to be entertained. I want them to, you know, get really great results. but I also want them to feel like uplifted and motivated to continue training as they go. That is, one of my services. You got to get your individual stuff. Like, what is unique about you that is going to be a service within your product? And remember, you are also your product. And lastly, like, is your appearance? How's your product service packaged, right? So are you, retrofit, right? Chances are, like, they're appealing to people who are looking, they're like tired of the Equinox situation. They're like, like me, when I go to an Equinox, like, and by the way, Equinox is a great place to work. They're awesome. I am not disparaging them, but I will be the first to admit that I am a little uncomfortable in Equinox. It's just not how I view fitness. Like, working out to me, I want to leave every one of my workouts bloody, sweaty, and crying a little bit. Like, to me, that's what working out is. I don't necessarily train my clients that way, but like for me, I want my workouts. I come in drenched. And so when I go to a place like Equinox, I'm like, God, everything here is so shiny. Like I don't want to be like the sweaty dude who's messing up the floors, like, so it's not really a gym for me. And that's okay, right? So your appearance, like, who are you marketing towards? Like, what is the gym? You look at like a place like Curves, right? Like, their whole thing is the idea that like they are marketing towards like women's gym. They are a women's only gym, right? That's awesome. What a great like way to market towards people, right? That's going to make a lot of people feel really comfortable. That is the demographic they are aiming for, right? Equinox is hiring for, they're looking for a very upscale sort of boutique situation. When I first opened my boot camp, I did not have enough money for equipment. And I remember leaving LA Fitness. I was like leaving work, and one of the like janitorial staff had like a bunch of medicine balls laid out on the ground. And I was like, what's up? And they were like, oh, I'm just throwing these away. They're all cracked, because they were medicine balls that had been like, slammed by members and stuff. And I was like, you're just throwing them away? And it's like, yeah, well, they're broken. And I was like, I'll take them. And so I took all these broken, they look, let's see if I can find a picture. Cracked medicine ball. They were this style. They were the hard style, and they were just like broken in half, one of them literally was like almost torn completely in half. Yeah, so it kind of looked something. Oh, it's cement. But it kind of looked like that. Anyway, so I was like, I'll take them. Like, medicine balls are expensive, And so I went and got like epoxy, and I like epoxied all the seals. And I remember like I poured like a bunch of like just epoxy in there in general, and then like sealed it up, and then like rolled it around so it would just like coat the inside part of the ball. And then I let that sit for a little while, and then I took duct tape and I wrapped it around every one of the medicine balls. So then all my medicine balls matched, but they were all just covered in duct tape. Like full covered duct tape medicine ball. Let's see if anybody else, if I can find a picture of this. Probably not. I mean, it kind of looked like something like this. But I literally covered it head to toe. It literally was just fully just wrapped around. And then in Sharpie marker, I wrote the weights on them. So pretty janky looking. But then I had like I had like 6 medicine balls. And I had a lot of equipment. It was I taught an outdoor boot camp. And I was like, all right, like, I get it. Like, these are not nice pieces of equipment, but they're just as effective as like a nice piece of equipment. And so I would literally market my boot camp that way. I was like, I would say like, we're down to earth, like, you're here to work out. Like, it's not, you need a towel to like wipe your sweat. You bring your own towel, like, it was meant to be like a gritty boot campy, sort of appearance, right? So that was the appearance of my product, and it worked. It was what I had access to, without spending like a ton of money. So Doesn't always have to be like that. There's a lot of niches out there, right? Professional, boutique, or down to earth. Those are just 3 examples. So those are all the things related to your product, but there are a couple of additional questions that you can ask yourself, which are going to help you sort of clarify like what your product is, right? So what features are considered basic features that really need to be offered, right? Things like personalized attention. That is something everyone should be offering when it comes to personal training. It's all about like, you are going to say, hey, all of my attention is going to be placed on my customer, right? That's the common features that everyone's going to offer. What features are missing, right? How can you or are missing from the current marketplace, and how can your product sort of fill that gap, right? If you look at like, the world that like we live in, right? A lot of people are looking for like, exercise, but they're looking for it in like a convenient, easy to do way. If you have like a product that you're offering that can meet the convenience needs of people, as well as like the obviously like physical and health needs of people, that's a successful product. What are the key features and benefits of your product, and how is that going to help you in comparison to your customers, right? Or I'm sorry, your competitors, right? So like, if you look at like your features, what features are setting you apart? Like Orange Theory, they're all about like wearing heart rate monitors, right? Not that anybody else can't do that. It's just that like they are marketing in such a way. 24-hour fitness, what are they marketing, right? They're marketing the fact that like it's convenient and you can go anytime you want, 24 hours a day. LA Fitness, they'll tell you that they are marketing like exclusivity because there are not as many people to go there. That's what they'll say. I mean, there's a lot of people at LA Fitness. Equinox, the features and benefits is like you are part of a club, you're part of an elite social crew. That's what Equinox is selling. They're not selling gym memberships. They're selling club memberships, they want you to feel like you are an exclusive sort of upper echelon of people. And then how can your product give you an advantage in the marketplace, right? What is going to be so unique about you that like you're going to be able to have an easy time carving out a section, right? Again, maybe it's that you know how to do massage and not every personal trainer does. Maybe it is that you are very good at educating your clients. Maybe it's that you are offering like, individualized attention and, continual check-ins with your clients in relation to their homework. Whatever it is, guys, there's, you got to figure that out for yourselves. But there's a lot of things that you can do that kind of set you apart. Next thing we got to look at, that's probably the hardest one, right? Or not about hardest, but the broadest one, right? So the next one we got to look at is the price for your service. So price is not just how much you are charging. That's not the only thing you need to consider. It is the amount charged for your goods or service. That is its definition. Make no mistake, right? Price, the amount charged for your goods or service. But that price should include things like volume discounts, right? So like, do I have, let's see here, drive.google. So here's some training rates, right? Oh, that's not correct. Oh my God, where's my old thing? Well, that's not good. These are the 30-minute session prices. Interesting. I've lost my training rates sheet. That's okay. So you take a look at like the training rates, right? You can see like it's $70 for a half hour. But if you buy 6 sessions, it goes down to $60 each for a total of $360. If you buy 12 sessions, it goes to $55 each, right? If you buy 24 sessions, it goes to $50 each. So these are sort of like these are like packages that are being offered. And the price goes down a little bit, 70 down to 60, down to 55, down to 50, right? That is something you definitely need to consider doing, because like when people see that, it's a much more attractive thing. And you may not be making quite as much per hour, but the stability of having like a guaranteed certain number of sessions is exactly what you're looking for. That's great, right? We want to have that sort of consistency in our jobs. You don't want to have to be selling new training sessions every freaking day, you know? That takes time out of your schedule that you could be making your hourly rate. So volume discounts are a very effective tool in your tool belt. Same thing with seasonal pricing, right? If you take everything and you take 10% off of all of that in the month of January in order to take advantage of the fact that like there's a lot of New Year's resolutions that take place in January where a lot of people are trying to like get back in shape, right? That's a great time to offer it, right? Or maybe like in the middle of like the summer, you know, we're going into wedding season, right? That's another time where people are trying to get like into really good shape. So seasonal pricing, volume discounts, and then bundle packages, right? Maybe somebody is bundling. It's like, hey, if you, let's say you offer something else in addition to your personal training, you're offering like nutritional coaching, right? If you offer like a discount on nutritional coaching, which normally is, we'll say $50 for a half hour, you know, video consultation, right? If you say like, hey, we'll throw in the video consultation for nutrition free for anyone who signs up for a 24 session package, right? That's bundling two things together. They're getting a benefit, you know, for one thing while buying something else. So those are things that you need to consider when it comes to price. So there's a couple different ways to consider your prices. You can see these are not going to be in your textbook, but these are some good piece of information here. There's cost plus price marketing. Basically, this is just adding a standard percentage. So the other things you need to consider when it comes to price, guys, is if you're selling a product, you know, you need to consider, okay, when I'm trying to set my prices, how much does it cost me to offer this product, right? So like if Coca-Cola was selling a can of Coke, right? You know, they are going to consider what's the cost of all the sugar or high fructose corn syrup as it is. They got to consider, you know, what are the costs of all the other ingredients? What are the costs of, you know, the aluminum in the can? What does it cost a factory worker to make one can of soda? The power to keep the factory running, the amount of rent, right? Staff salaries for everyone. They're going to consider all of those things. And that is how they're going to determine the price of their product, right? That would be cost plus. My parents, when they owned the pet store, they would buy something wholesale and they would sell it for 1 1/3 times the wholesale price. So if something cost $1 at the pet store, it cost $1.33. So that is how you do cost plus pricing. So things you need to consider if you are doing in-home personal training, how much does it cost you in gas to drive to someone's location? Or maybe you're training at a place like this. So there's a place in North Hollywood I used to train. At One Fitness in North Hollywood, they are a trainer's gym. So you are allowed to bring your clients to At One. They're your clients. You're allowed to bring them there. They charge, what is it now? Is it 15 now? Nope, $10. $10 an hour. Pretty freaking reasonable. That can't be right. Oh no, $20. There we go. I was going to say, and then clients who are working with trainers can come and take their group exercise classes for $10. Got it. So $20, right? $20 an hour. So if you're paying $20 an hour to train in that gym and you need to make, you know, $50 an hour profit, then you're going to charge $70, right? So there's your cost plus pricing strategy. There's also value-based pricing strategy, and these are not like separate to one another, guys. These are all just tools in your tool belt. Don't think that you're going to choose this or this. You could choose this and this. But there's also value-based, right? And that's based on the buyer's perception of value rather than, you know, the perception of your costs. So they're going to depend on like, you know, how much value is kind of built into your product or service. So, you know, like this kind of funny, but like you think about like kids cereals. I don't think they do this anymore, but like, do kids cereals still put toys in them? Is that still a thing? I feel like I haven't seen that in kids cereals, but it used to be like yeah, then during the 90s they were putting like CDs in there and stuff. They used to put in like toys in like cereal boxes, right? They still do it in like Happy Meals, I'm sure, right? That's a value-based thing. It's like, people are going to go and they're going to buy that cereal because, well, no, I also get a free toy, it's the perception of like, how much value is kind of built into it, right? If somebody's like, for me, yeah, I'm willing to, I'm going to probably end up dropping another $40 a week on my food for the week. But the ability to not have to like cook that at all, that value is there. And then like the idea that it's got some social good to it as well. I'm stoked about it, So that's value-based pricing. Then there's also competitive pricing. Competitive pricing is where you are going to analyze what the prices are in the area based on your competitors' prices. Are you trying to undercut them, or are you trying to like go way above their prices and then offer your service as sort of a luxury premium item? It's up to you, right? Equinox, they charge a lot more. Their gyms are very nice, but I honestly, it's not like it's stuff that you're not going to find in a regular gym. But they're going for the luxury upscale feel, and that's why it costs so much more. And then there's also psychological pricing. This is just sort of how things work. $199 psychologically just looks a little bit better than 200. So if you see that your session prices are kind of flat at like 200, just drop it down a little bit. Drop it down $1. This will result in more sales. This is why everything costs like 99 cents instead of, $1. It's just a little bit of a sort of psychological pricing principle. Other things you need to consider when it comes to price. So once you've figured out your pricing strategy, then you need to figure out like things that are going to be related to that price. So you need to determine like a payment period. So if you are billing your clients, like invoicing them, how long will you give your clients to pay you? Is it within 1 week? Is it the same time every month? Whatever. Is there seasonal allowance? Again, this is like, do you give certain reductions in your pricing during certain times of the year? The holidays, great time to throw some discounts out there. Yeah, you're not going to make as much money per hour, but you will make more like clients, right? Again, volume discounts, that's another one. Again, you make less per hour, but you are getting more work. And then what are your credit terms? Don't forget, like, are you allowing your customer to pay check, Venmo? These are all things you need to consider. If you're doing Venmo, you can transfer that money for free if you're willing to wait the 1 to 3 business days. But you could also do like, if they're doing like the direct transfer where they take, what is it, like 1% of the price or whatever, well, build that into the price of like your sessions, charge a little bit more for your training sessions. Quick little tangent just for the fun fact for the day here. Do you guys know how Venmo makes money? Has anybody ever heard about this?
No.
This is pretty freaking brilliant. So Venmo, the reason it takes 1 to 3 business days to transfer your money from like your wallet into your account is because they will take your money for those 3 days and they invest it somewhere in the stock market, and it'll make them, let's say somebody gave you $5, right? They'll invest that $5. It'll make them like, 16/100ths of a penny, but like they're doing that with like millions and millions and millions of people every day. And that's how they make money. That's why they don't need to charge you like any fees. Pretty crazy, right? Freaking brilliant. If I could go back in time and invent something like that. What's that, Lorianne?
Really, I mean, that's pretty smart.
I know. I'm so jealous. We were just talking about this the other day. Like, if you could go back in time and just like, throw $1,000 into like Apple, like, it'd be crazy. All right. So the next one we got to look at is place. So the place is the channels or product, the channels that your product or service are going to go through in order to reach your customer. So this is like where your customer is actually like partaking in your product or service. So if you are doing in-home personal training, that's the place, right? You are doing it in their homes. If you are training at an Equinox, if you're training at multiple gyms across the area, if you're doing a boot camp in the park, right? Those are the place, right? So this is where you got to kind of look at like market coverage, right? So like when you're looking at like distribution, it's like, where's your coverage being offered? Generally, guys, if you're doing like in-home, if you're doing like private personal training, your market coverage is not going to be that large. You don't want, like if I was still doing like a ton of trainings, I don't want to train people in Pasadena. That is a long drive for me to go out there for 1 or 2 sessions, right? I'm not into it, right? So your market coverage will probably be pretty small, but as you grow your business, again, offering things like virtual personal training expands your market coverage massively, right? Because now you can train someone in North Carolina or Jersey, like hell, you could train somebody in another country if you can get your time schedules synced up properly. So there's a couple different types of distribution out there. You're not going to need to know these, but intensive distribution is one of them. This is basically offering your product in as many different places as possible. So like large scale commercial gyms, like you got an LA Fitness membership, you can go here, right? They're all over the place. There's also selective distribution. This is where you're offering your product or service like in a few specific places. So like it narrows it down. These are usually like your medium-sized fitness facilities. I would honestly say that like Equinox is somewhat selective distributed. There's not that many locations of it. But then there's also like exclusive distribution. This really doesn't apply to us at all. But like this is where basically when you think about like, you go to Costco and they have the Kirkland brand product. Kirkland brand is that's exclusive distribution, right? You go to a 24-hour fitness, they have like their own 24-hour line of like supplements and stuff. That's exclusive distribution. Doesn't really necessarily like apply to us directly, but you might need to know about these things if you ever decide to work at a place like 24. And lastly, you've got promotion. Promotion is the communication about your product or service with the goal of generating a positive customer response. So this is where, yes, advertising finally comes in. When we think about like marketing, we often think of it as advertising. That's promotion, right? So radio ads, print ads, social media is probably the biggest one in terms of like large distribution of your product, right? If you are posting on, Facebook or Instagram, Snapchat, all of those places, and like getting your face out there and like showing you like training your clients. If I go to like my Instagram, it is filled with, my students and stuff who have, been training their clients. It's also filled with a lot of ultimate frisbee. So you're going to see like a lot of just like personal training stuff, a lot of cat stuff as well. But you can, man, I'm getting a lot of ads. But you can see like, I'm going to see like students who are training their clients, right? Like if I go to like Indie, there we go, Indie Fitness. This is India. She graduated like 6 weeks ago. You can see she's just posting up on social media all of the workouts that she's been doing and stuff. So social media is a good way to market your services, right? I guarantee everybody, I know that she's privately training now because I've got her on Instagram as like a friend. So whenever she pops up, I'm going to see about it. So social media is big, but the biggest and most effective marketing in your tool bag is always going to be word of mouth. Word of mouth is the #1 tool for a personal trainer. Your clients telling their friends about your awesome training and bringing them in, it's the best way for you to get new customers. So piggybacking on that concept of word of mouth being the biggest thing, this is why one of the things you need to do and you need to focus on is you want to make sure that you are always giving your customers what we call uncompromised customer service. So uncompromising customer service, it means that when you are personal training, you are consistently adding as much value to every member, to every session, to every client as you can consistently. You're adding as much value into every one of your sessions as you can, right? Your service with a smile. You're giving all of your attention to your clients. You're making sure they don't have downtime in between sets and stuff. They are actively recovering, right? They're continually checking in with you, right? You're building as much of your reputation on your ability to apply good customer service as possible. But you are doing that without compromising yourself and crossing the line. If your client says something like, hey, can you come help me with a yard sale this weekend? That's not customer service. That's, or at least it is. If it is customer service, it's compromised customer service. You're blurring the line between like the trainer-client relationship. I had a client that I used to train years ago. I would come to her house in the morning and train her before she went to work. And, she would always be getting back from like walking her dog, because she would like walk her dog. And then she would like train with me. And then, she would shower and get ready for the morning and then like go to work. Right. And she I showed up and, knock on the door, she lets me in. And it's very clear that she's like, I need to change. Just give me a second. She goes and changes. She's like, I woke up really late this morning and I'm, not really ready to go. She's like, you know what? While I am getting things prepped and ready, because she would normally always have stuff set out and ready. She's like, while I'm getting prepped and ready, would you mind just walking my dog around the block? And I had a choice to make. I was like, I'm trying to keep this customer happy, right? I'm going to keep this client, but I'm also really trying to make sure that I'm a professional and I'm not blurring the lines between our relationship. So I was like, compromise. Why don't I help you set up for today's session? And then we will walk your dog as our warm up. I will come with you. Then we can talk about your diet, what your goals are this week. And we can talk about that as we go around the block together. And that way, she was still very much, this was very much a situation where I wasn't blurring the lines between the trainer-client relationship, and then, so that's a good example of uncompromised. It's still customer service, right? But I didn't compromise myself. Here's an example of a time that I totally did. So I have another client who, just through this client is he is the most generous person I've ever known. He's very wealthy. He's very well off. The way he always describes it is he has a lot of successful, white guy guilt. That's what he calls it. But really what it is he's just he's a very generous person. And so he takes care of a lot of people. He has a housekeeper that he pays for all of her dental work just because he gives her insurance, even though she's only working a couple hours a week. Her kids are under that insurance as well. He has people that he will let stay in his guest home because if they need, which is awesome, but kind of interesting. By the way, he had four trainers, myself included as one of them, because he was trying to spread his wealth around to support many people. And he was very big on tipping massive amounts of money. And it was one of those things where it's I was look, man, I'm going to build as much value into these sessions as possible to be worthy of if you're really going to tip like this, then you're going to get very good customer service. But slowly over time, it became other things that to 20-year-old me, who's a little less mature than I am now, were very appealing. And he was he had one of the very first Tesla Model S's. And he was like, hey, I'm going out of town for a week. Do you want to borrow the car? And I was like, yeah, absolutely I do. Are you kidding me? A week of driving a Tesla? Yeah, of course I want to do that. And it started blurring the lines. It started, sort of blurring the lines between the professional relationship that I have with this person and like the personal relationship that I had. And like this person is still, very much like in my phone. They're a contact. I talk to them all the time. But I don't train them anymore. It got to a point where I was like, you know what? Like, I'm losing my authority to be able to like give you sound nutritional and health advice, because like it's just like has anybody in here tried to train their friends? Has anybody tried training friends or family? Anybody trying to train family? Nobody doing any of that just yet? All right, well, piece of advice, guys. Be prepared. It's the worst. I like my mom. I love my mom. She is the worst client I've ever had, ever. Worst. And like by a large margin too. Like, she's like the gap between like worst and second worst is like the gap between like US military spending and every other country in the world. It's a massive gap. Like, and I love this woman to death. She is my idol. She's one of the hardest working people I know. I look up to my mom in so many ways. Worst client ever. Because she doesn't want to listen to me. She has no reason to believe that I am an expert. This woman saw me cheat on my homework when I was a kid. She saw me like lie to her about where I was consistently when I was a child. She changed my diaper. She has no reason to believe this entity is an expert in anything. That's why your friends and family are the worst clients, because you don't have authority over them the way you do over your standard client, because they've seen you in your personal life. And so the more personal I got with this client, the more the lines got blurred, and the harder it became to get this person to, to motivate them during a workout. Like, hey, come on, you got to keep moving during your set. And I'm like, I know I do. It's like, okay, if you know, then do it. But like, they don't feel that pressure anymore. And so I fired him. I told him, I was like, look, man, like we're going to, we can hang out. We can, I'm still in your corner. I want you to succeed. But our relationship as like a trainer client situation has evolved in such a way that I don't think I'm the best trainer for you anymore. And that sucked. But like, that was a mistake that like I had made. I blurred those lines. I consciously made those decisions. And that is just something, that's an example. I compromised my customer service. So you want to give the best customer service you can, guys, but you want to do it in such a way that it does not compromise you as a professional. That's how I got my job at Biggest Loser. The guy before me got fired. He went to a Dodger game with one of the guests, right? This is a weight loss resort where people are focusing on like eating healthy, and he's posting pictures up on Facebook of him, holding a beer and like a Dodger dog, which is not exactly healthy, with one of these clients. Blur the lines, right? And he got fired for it. So don't do that. So take over so let's talk about like what to do first. Because I kind of pivoted into the do nots. Take every opportunity you've got, guys, to meet and get to know your clients on a personal level. Like, know about them. Know, do they have kids? Know what drives them? What are they passionate about? What excites them? That is still good customer service, right? Getting to know where your client's from, getting to know about them, what their job is, what their day-to-day is like, what drives them, what they're passionate about. That's great. That's the kind of stuff you want to know, right? Always remember, you're representing a positive image of high professionalism every single day. Show up for your sessions on time. Make sure that you're clean. You're paying all your attention to your client, right? You're not burning your session time. You're not burning through session time by, talking about the problems in your life. Like, God, I've seen trainers do. I used to work with this guy. This guy is such a dirtbag. By the way, you're going to see so many bad trainers out there. This is why I got into teaching, because I was sick of it. I used to work with this guy who's just the worst, and he would just bash. And look, I didn't enjoy working for LA Fitness either. Like, not that they treated me poorly. It was just a faceless company, you know? And I was like, man, this is not what I'm passionate about, but it was a paycheck and I was building my client base. So it was a means to an end for me. This guy was just like me. He clearly didn't enjoy working for LA Fitness, but he would just bash LA Fitness during. I'd be walking by and I would just hear him talking to his clients like, "Oh yeah, this place sucks. They never do this. The members here are lazy. Like, look at this." And I was like, "Man, like, who are you?" Like, and I can't believe that it's, and he lost customers all the time. His clients would end up with me. This guy hated me. I would not seek out his clients. LA Fitness, you're not doing sales, So I didn't like seek out his clients, but people would just like pop up on my schedule because they'd go on the website and reschedule. And this guy just hated me. And I hated him back. He was the worst. That guy ended up suing LA Fitness and like won that lawsuit. It was crazy. Remember I told you guys, I will always work really hard for a company, but they would constantly ask us to like clean up the gym in between our sessions and stuff. And we wouldn't get paid for it. This was a problem they had back in the day. They'd be like, "Hey, can you take 5 minutes to go clean up the gym before you leave today?" And I'd be like, "No." Like, the thing that I get paid for is over. Like, I'm going home. This guy, he would do that. And he like recorded every time he did it. And he like went to a lawyer or whatever and decided to sue LA. And he won like a class. I got a check in the mail because this guy did like a class action lawsuit. I got like a $35 check in the mail like years later because it was like he got this much money and then the rest of it was like split evenly among all employees. It was wild. Bums me out, man, because that guy was the worst. So anyway, always be positive. Represent the company that you are representing in a positive nature, high level of professionalism. Whining about the company constantly is not professional. And never give your clients the impression, this is never ever give the impression that a question that they might ask you is inconvenient, unnecessary, or unintelligent. There are no, dumb questions, right? So always make sure that you are super stoked. You're super excited to answer any questions that your clients have. I love this one. This is a really fun one. Obsess over opportunities to create moments that will strengthen your professional relationships, right? Be obsessive. What can you do to strengthen your relationship with your clients, right? I love sending my clients articles, like little things that I'm reading. And I'll even talking about like having sort of a personal relationship without like blurring the lines. I'll use like animated GIFs and like fun, like little memes. I'll send that stuff to my client all the time. They're like, "Thought of you when I saw this." And it'll be like somebody who's, like a meme about, something that my client likes that they mentioned. It's fun. It keeps, me in their mind. They go, "Oh man, like that's so funny." And then they're going to go, "Oh, you know what? I haven't gone for a walk today." It will help strengthen your relationship with them, but it shouldn't be anything like inappropriate. It's never anything outside the realm of what is like a professional relationship. And then this is probably the biggest one. If you want to be an entrepreneur and you want your business to succeed, do not merely receive complaints. People are going to complain. Like, you're going to have a client who is unhappy with something. It's going to happen. If that happens, don't just, receive that complaint and go, "Sorry," take ownership of them. It's like, apologize. Be like, "I apologize for like that experience happened. What can I do to make it better?" Right? Take ownership of it. Right? That's great. It's just like, this is like, again, we'll go back to my mom. Here's another example. When I was a kid, I didn't clean my room or something. My mom would be like, "You got to clean your room." I'm like, "Sorry." And I wouldn't do anything afterwards. Right? But she, and my mom was like, "Hey, you got to like own that you goofed up." Right? She's like, "I'm asking you to do it because like, I'm asking you for a favor. Like, it is hard for me to, have like a messy house and, earn a living running this pet store and take you to school every day, like to do all these things. I'm asking for a little bit of help." And like that allowed me to take ownership of the fact it's like, yeah, like I'm going to own, like, yeah, I made a mess, It's my mess. I'm going to clean it up because I want to be a part of the team, you know? Don't just take your complaints in and go, yeah, I know it sucks, right? Oh my God, don't do that, right? Be like, I apologize for that. What can we do to help, right? Take ownership of it and turn it around. It's an opportunity for you to strengthen your relationship with this person, right? Successful personal trainers, how do you do this? How do you take ownership of things? This is if you forget everything I tell you today, here's the big key sentence, right? This is what you want to ask yourself every single session, every single day, as often as possible. If my entire future were based on the way this one client evaluated their experience in this moment right now, would I change anything? Like if your entire career was built on how the customer directly in front of you right now feels, your career is going to be made or broken by like how they feel right now. Would you change anything? You'd be like, you know what? I'd probably tuck my shirt in, or I would, ask them if there's anything that they needed. I would, I have no idea. there's a million different things out there. There's too many examples, but that's something you should continually be asking yourself. If you're doing that, it means that you are dedicated to your customers, summarizing it all up today. Hopefully everyone is in the entrepreneur spirit now. You guys are like, I'm going to start the next Apple. Awesome. Love that. Do it. You should start something better than Apple. Start something like Samsung. Shots fired. So summarizing everything up, marketing mix. These are your 4 Ps. These are probably the biggest things where you're going to get test questions, guys. Clearly define what your product is. Your product is the actual product that you are offering, your goods or your service. Determine a price, right? That is, based on maybe your surrounding income or, what your style wants to be. Is it luxury? Is it upscale? Is it boutique? Or is it, down to earth? Is it dirty and gritty? Economy pricing. They're both great. I love them both. Your price is how much you are charging for your product or service. Understand the places that your market, where is your product going to be consumed? Where is it going to be used? What is the place that your product is going to, no pun intended, take place, right? And then promotion, where are you going to market your service? If you are promoting something in the park down from your house, and then you're putting ads up, like a billboard in, South Hollywood, what? No. Your promotion should be near your place, make sure that you are marketing your business in the areas where your people are going to consume it. And that is your 4 Ps, and that is your marketing mix, guys. Hopefully you guys are all feeling like entrepreneurs right now. How y'all feeling, guys? Questions, comments, concerns?
Feeling great.
Doing good.
All right. Actually went a little longer than I expected. I got a little mouthy in there. A little overly wordy today. I'm gonna let y'all out of here. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and
You too.
I'll see you on Monday.
Bye. Thank you for everything.
All right.
Thanks.